Hey everybody, welcome to Athena After Dark. I hope you all had a great week. We have tons of cool stuff going on, so let's kickstart this baby and get rolling. Daytona was amazing this year, and we're off to a fantastic start for 2023. This coming weekend, do not miss the Donnie Smith Bike Show in St. Paul at the River Center. It is going to be a great time. The attendance is really, really, really big, and it's absolute guarantee you will not be disappointed. The snow might be a little bit to get through. I heard they're getting 10 inches this week. I hope that all the roads are clear and everything's good to go because Donnie Smith just finished a new bike and it's going to be there and you need to see it. It is beautiful. I posted a couple pictures on the Facebook, so anyone wants to see it, it'll be there. All right. Something cool. We have our first contest for the ladies. Okay. Ladies, here we go. If you don't ride yet, but you've always wanted to, or if you're a guy and your chick wants to ride, or if you ride and you're a girl and you have a girlfriend that wants to ride, have them send me a message. You can see the address on the screen. Message me at Athena After Dark Productions and tell me why you want to learn to ride. So I'll pick 2 ladies from those who participate, and I'll provide them with complete rider courses from Harley Davidson. You see it on the screen. It's a full package. You go for the whole thing, and at the end, when you pass, you get your license. And then I suggest you go rent a couple different bikes and then pick the one you're going to ride because it's tons of fun. So that's my way of inspiring other women to get out there and ride. It's very important that, you can at least ride him home if he's too drunk to drive, and could possibly get in trouble.
You did that once.
I did that once.
Not with me.
No, not with Don. So tonight, Don is behind the camera. He's pushing the buttons. Thing one got the night off. And so we're going to see how this works. I get commentary from my other half. That's pretty good. All right. So tonight's segment, Ask Athena, brought to you by Techno Research. Barbara from Wilmington, North Carolina. She says, I'm 5'4" and ride a 2000 Sportster. I'd like to buy a vintage bike, an old Indian or Harley, but fear I'll not be able to kickstart it or reach the ground. Do you have any suggestions that may suit my needs? P.S. I love your show, by the way. You're a great host with cool guests. Well, Miss Barbara, I do have some suggestions. Look at a little flathead 45 and a rigid frame, something like they, have. You go to the Sons of Speed race, you'll see the racers have their bikes, but then they also have some vintage bikes around there. And the kickstart part, well, that's something you acquire as you go. You learn, you get your foot up there and you put some ass into it. And every once in a while, I'll throw you over the handlebars, all depends. And you can also modify it, with a little bit of cam change and stuff like that to make it easier kick and timing and things of that nature. But if you're looking for a motorcycle, I suggest that you look in that era at 5'4". You can go to Bass Cycles. Badass Jenny Bass, who is a good friend of mine. She's about your same height, and she'll kickstart anything. She rides a knucklehead across country. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, it can be done, and those are good things. And you can reach out to Jenny too, because she'll give you some insight as to some of the vintage bikes that fit her easily without a lot of modification. And I suggest you do that. So okay, we're gonna have a word from our sponsor. Our first advertiser, Seaside Subs. Don's pushing the buttons. I like it. He's like, oh my God, what button? There's Techno Research. I love it. Okay. Here we go. Push go, babe. Yeah, the arrow. There you go. Arrow.
Hi, I'm Dawn. Me and Andrew own Seaside Subs at Deerfield Beach. Come see us. We'll make you a great sub. Have a great day. Hi.
Look at that. It worked. I don't know where I went, but there you go. It worked. All right. So we've decided that we've gotten through a lot of segments. We have a bunch of segments that I usually do a bunch of them. So what we've done is we throw them into Kitty. And so we have more time with our guests. We'll do different ones every week. So that way we don't tie up our good time with the guests. All right. So tonight, I'm honored to have a man who is special place. He has a special place in my heart. He'll make you laugh, smile, and cringe, sometimes all at once. He is an adventure all his own. Yes, Roadside Marty is here, and he is tonight's spark. So I have some pictures, as we do. We always go through the pictures first. That's us in Sturgis at the Michael Lichter exhibit. I love it. Don's nervous back there, pushing the buttons. Yep, there you go, babe. You're doing good. Yay! All right. So, Sons of Speed Race with Chris Callan. There's Marty getting him all ready to go. He is the race team co-owner. They go out there and they beat him up on the track. Marty actually did some work with his dad and stuff like that. There's the crew. There's Marty. There's Mr. Davis. There's his brother. And I believe it's Buddy, right? And then there's Willie from Tropical Tattoo. Like, what a crew there. You cannot miss out on that. All righty. We have lots of photos. Marty gets around. He's world renowned, as you can see. He has tons and tons of people. And hi, Dennis. I see you out there. Roadside. You can click through the pictures, babe. You don't have to worry about the comments. I can see them. All right. This is a favorite of mine. There's Roadside. He's got Chris Callan in the sidecar and Mr. Davis sitting in front. That's a fantastic shot. And I always ask the guests to send pictures that they like because I get the best ones that way. And I get to see them too. So it's pretty cool. There he is giving his dad a trim right before Daytona. They had to look all spiffy, all of them. That's so cool. He's a good son. He's just a good man. That's why I love him so much. He's adorable. There he is with Billy Lane. I believe that's out at Warren's show this past Daytona. All right. And look at that. Okay. Oh, you can keep going. You can just flip through the pictures. I'll get to the talking part. That's okay. Go ahead. Next shot. I love it. There he is in the shop. Look at him having fun. He's got heads. Oh, boy. A big old smile. He was absolutely having a good time. The shop always makes us have fun. That's just how it is. We accomplish something. We all have a big smile because it's definitely a feat to accomplish. There's another crew. Look at that. They just keep going and going and going. All right. We got more pictures. I love it. Don's doing pretty good at this. I'm impressed. All right. There you go. Oh, that's the sticker. I fuck up a lot. I got one of those this year at Daytona. That's exciting. I can't decide if I'm putting it on my bike or on my toolbox. I have a toolbox sticker that says, "Who the fuck is Roadside Marty?" And it's awesome. It's one of my favorites.
I got that too.
Yeah, Don has that too. All right. Look at these pictures. Look at all these good-looking men in these pictures. And he's always there. And Marty is the head of security. Oh, Mr. Toast. That's Dan Toast from Toast Exhaust. That's his dad. I'll tell you what. Incredible man. Like Mr. Davis. They're incredible. They're the reason we are the way we are. Hi, Lance Baxter. I see you in Leesburg. All right. We got good. Look at these good shots. Big smiles. Marty always makes everybody happy. It's always good to be around him. He is the head of security at Willie's Tropical Tattoo Chopper Time show. Probably he's the head of security at a lot of places too. Oh, there he is giving Chris Callan a big old kiss. Gotta love that. Those two. I love going on the road with the two of them. If Don's not around, they are my security. I'm always safe. I do have a picture somewhere. Each one of them's giving me a kiss on the cheek. Oh, there you go. Like father, like son. Boobies, butts and boobies. Marty is the MC at events. He does booby contests. He will roast you at Willie's Tropical Tattoo. If you have not been to a Chopper Time show, you are missing out because it starts with the Pledge of Allegiance and it goes awry from there. It's whatever and however. And reactions are always fun because some people don't expect it. Look at that. Dan Starkey, Paul Cox. I know that gentleman on the other side. I'm not sure who that is. I think it's somebody from Lead Sled, I believe. I'm not sure. But, you know, I know the faces. Sometimes I don't remember the names. I have boobs and a round butt. What do you want? That's how it goes. Hey, look at that shot. And that's father and son fun. I mean, and when you sit down with the two of them, it's incredible. It really is a lot of fun. They are amazing men. Go ahead, babe. Let's see the next one. There you go. Look at that. Too much fun. I like the sign above their heads. Cocktails. Yep. Yes. All right. And I think we got one more stream of shots because we got a lot of good pictures. All right. That was in Sturgis. That was at the Run to the Line. I remember that. I was there for that one. That was a good one. All right. More fun. Oh, there's Walt Lumpkin. Mr. Mustache all the way in the back. I know his name too. All right. There we go. Look at that's at the Smokeout in the Legends Gallery. That was a great show. I can't wait. Oh, there we are. Now, okay. There's Mike, there's Marty, and there's me in that blue hoodie. It's a Harley Davidson, has a number 1 on it. It says West Palm Beach on the back. If anybody picked that up at the Smokeout, if you could return that, I'd be greatly appreciative. My dad bought me that right before he passed away, so it has a lot of sentimental meaning. And I think I put it down somewhere to let it dry. And everybody looks like everybody else's blue hoodie, I'm sure. I do have a new one, but it's not the same, but it's almost as good. Like, look at that. I got the new one. The Willie's. Got to get it. If you guys haven't gotten it and you don't go to Daytona to get it, I'm sure you can order it online. Call the shop. They'll send it to you for sure. You could pay easy, I'm sure. All right, we got more. Look at that. Look at these guys, I swear. And he's always in his red shirt. You know, he's the rose between all the thorns. I love that. Look at that. They got the big hat going on. Any more? I think there's like one or two more. There he is with Billy. Oh, there's Billy sitting on his motorcycle. That's in Sturgis. That's Billy's tent in Sturgis. All right. Look at that. It's great. That's Panhead Billy Burrows, I believe he said. Yep. That's a good shot. All right. So I'm all excited. With no further ado, we're going to bring him in. Don't forget to unmute his mic, babe. Don's doing great.
Great job, Don. Proud of you.
Oh, man,
There he is. Hi, handsome. How are you?
Mwah, mwah. How you doing, gorgeous? Thanks so much for having me on.
Oh, thank you for being here. You made my day. And I know you had an emergency at work. I told everybody yesterday. Shit happens. But third time's a charm, right?
I'm telling you. I mean, all the things were against us, but we made it happen.
We made it happen anyways. That's perseverance. So
Yep.
Tell us a little bit. What's coming up for you? What do you got going on?
Well, right now, the only thing I got going next is Sturgis. Now, I always do Daytona twice a year, Bike Week, Biketoberfest, and Sturgis. And whatever else I can fit in between, like the Smokeout, now that it's back. And there's a lot of little smaller parties that are really gaining momentum that I'd really like to make, like Georgia Grundle Run, the Rip Run, and a few other ones. But, you know, it seems like every event wants to plan right around the same time. So, you know, that's hard for me. It's just like I had thought about going to Born Free, Texas this year, but that's right at Bike Week. I mean, Biketoberfest.
Biketoberfest, yeah.
That throws that out. You know, I mean, there's absolutely no way I'm going to miss Bike Week or Biketoberfest because Willie depends on me. So, you know.
Yeah. There's no better place to be. I don't care who you are, where you are. That's the greatest show on earth. Literally.
I joke with people, if you want to take a hit out on me, my pattern is just so ingrained that, you know, you stay there, I'll eventually be there.
Yeah, we'll have none of that. So you ever do Leesburg or anything like that yet? Have you done that?
I did Leesburg many years ago. I think it was like the second or third one. It was a pretty fun event back then, you know, because it was just starting out. And, you know, I've heard good things and bad things about it now. I've heard, you know, some people say it's good, some people say it's not good. But, you know, to me, motorcycles and motorcycle people, I can always have a good time.
Yes, you can. We know that for sure. Definitely. So that's good. So Sturgis, and then the Smokeout. I already booked a room. So we got a room. We got a suite with a kitchen so that I can cook. So we can all eat. So we don't. Although Smokeout was good because I got to go to dinner with you and your dad at the Waffle House, the best place on earth. That was awesome. I got
shitty service, but it was a great company.
Oh, it was awesome that the service was so sucky because it got more time to spend with you and your dad. That was my highlight of the trip for sure.
That was a great night.
You ever do? Have you done Tennessee Mountain Music or Tennessee Music Motorcycle Revival yet?
I did the very first one, and God, for whatever reason, I hadn't been able to make it back there. But you know, a lot of my friends make that one. Being the first one that I went to, it being the first, you know, I don't think they had very many bugs to work out on it. But, you know, some people they didn't do this, they didn't do that. And I'm like, well, you know, get in line, man. First time you're doing an event, you're gonna have some issues and whatnot, but they did a great job. Kerry Rep and Buckshaw, Bill Dodge, great people. I enjoy working with them, being around them. Honestly, I guess I need to make another appearance there.
Yeah, definitely. Let us know when you're going too, because we'll meet you there for sure. That'd be a good event to go to. All right. So are you ready for some questions?
Absolutely.
All right. So we'll do the first series is just for fun. So dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Dogs. Big
100%.
dogs or little dogs?
Surprisingly, I like little dogs. Little dachshunds, little French bulldogs.
Okay.
Those two are my favorites.
All right. Apples or oranges?
Apples.
Apples with peanut butter or just by themselves?
Oh God, peanut butter. Man, got to get that protein.
Oh, hotels or camping?
Well, before I was in my early 20s, I'd say camping. But now I'm going to say hotel because I slept enough on the ground when I was in the Army. I mean, I can do it, but I really don't like doing it. So,
Well,
I mean, I guess I'm kind of what do they call it? A permanent press biker because I like, indoor plumbing, AC, heat, hot shower,
oh,
cable TV. I guess I am getting soft in my old age, but believe me, I have slept behind many gas stations or in the grass at a truck stop or something. So, for
yeah,
whatever that's worth. But yeah, I'm a
that's
I'm a
what
hotel guy now.
that's. I guess I'm gonna have to find a couple younger guests because that's pretty much how we all feel about it at this point. And thank you for your service. We appreciate that more than you know.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, sweetie. But back then, I needed the Army a hell of a lot more than they needed me. You know,
Oh,
I'll
that's
tell you a
funny.
real quick story, and
Sure.
you know, everyone will get a kick out of this. When I went into the recruiter's office, I was 21, I believe, 21, yeah, right around there, and he handed me a piece of paper. He was real, and he was calling me soldier already, trying to hype
Right.
me up, And he goes, "Okay, soldier, I want you to fill this paper out, and I want you to be completely honest." And I said, "Not a problem, sergeant." So I'm looking, marijuana, check, cocaine, check, you know, LSD, check, and all. And I push it back over to him, and he literally looked at it and went, he goes, and he crumbled it up and he threw it in the trash. He said, "Okay, soldier, I want you to fill this out and I want you to be 100% honest with me." I said, "No problem, sergeant." No, 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 no. So that's how I got in the Army.
I
That
love
is
it.
a true story.
That is awesome. That's why I'm doing this because we love the true stories. It's all about what we're doing. Willie says hello.
Oh man, I
Cheryl
love that
O'Brien
man.
says hello. I know that man is incredible. But I'm grateful that you brought him. I mean, I've always gone to the shows, but between you and Chris, I've gotten to know him, and I'm just one more amazing person in my life that I'm grateful for. And he sends me pictures. I got to send him all the Daytona pictures. I took so many I couldn't text them to him, but
Right.
there's so many great shots because I want him to have them because he puts them up
Oh
on
yeah,
the wall and on the thing. Yeah, it's really
yeah, he
cool.
does.
All right, next question. You can take it however you want. Slow, fast, or faster?
Fast.
Fast. Okay.
I'm in
All right.
between slow and
In
fast.
between.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go with that. All right. So sunshine or moonshine?
Sunshine.
Okay.
I don't drink anymore.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely sunshine. And being from Florida, even though I live in quote unquote LA, Lower Alabama, according to some people, there's a palm tree on my birth certificate, you sons of bitches. So that means I'm from Florida.
I love you. That's awesome. And we got halfway through that story in Daytona. So next time I see you, we'll have to finish that story why you don't drink anymore. We won't talk about that here.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah.
we got through. Yeah, that story was. I was cliffhanging, and somebody came over and talked to you, and that was it. We had to stop there. So we'll have to pick that one back up. All right. What is
Got
your
it.
favorite song?
Oh man. Still the Same by Bob Seger. My mother used to play that endlessly, and I always liked it. Never got tired of hearing it.
That is awesome. My dad always played Turn the Page. Wow.
Yeah. My
That's pretty
mom was a
cool.
huge Bob Seger fan, and
Mhm.
she always played Still the Same and Feel
That's
Like a
awesome.
Number. Those two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good songs too. I love Bob Seger. All right. What is your favorite road food?
Uh, Usually 2 roller hot dogs, 2 for 99 cents, at the gas station when I'm getting gas. I mean, when I'm traveling alone, I like to try to make time. And I mean, you fill up, you walk in, you get 2 of those roller dogs and Diet Mountain Dew or a Pepsi and you slam it down, you get back on your bike and man, you're good to go for another 300 or 400 miles.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Roller dogs. Sometimes if it's a slow day or a rainy day, you put chili and cheese on it or what?
I don't know, man. That chili and that cheese, man, it looks like some of that stuff. Even though they cook it, it looks like it's been in storage in some military warehouse since the 50s, you know. And of
Oh,
course,
man.
I have tried that on occasion, and my gut has immediately disagreed.
It's like, nope, don't do that to
Yeah,
me.
it's like, no, don't do
Okay.
that again.
Never do that again. Right.
Can't go
Yeah.
wrong
There's
with
something
ketchup.
ketchup. I like
Yeah,
mustard on my hot dog. I'm
I
a
got you.
mustard girl. I like
But
mustard.
you can't go wrong with ketchup or mustard.
Right. And my
Those are good.
grandson, he'll be 5 in July, and he's always like, Mimi, you know what I like on my hot dog? I'm like, mustard. He's like, ketchup and mustard. I'm like, you
Ketchup
go, you
and
madman.
mustard.
Right. He's got taste. So
That kid's
all
got
right.
it covered.
Oh, he's got it covered. And he rocks an awesome mullet too. He's no bullshit. He is the real deal. Yeah.
Yes,
We're gonna get him up that way. We're gonna go visit Barry and Gypsy. So we'll have to stop and see you because you will just love him. And he
please.
get a kick out of you and your dad for sure. That is cool. Okay. If you were a cocktail, what would you be?
Ooh, Crown and 7. Top
Crown
shelf.
and 7. Top shot. I like that. I like that. Okay. All right. Now we're gonna get into a little bit more of the serious questions. All right.
Okay.
How long have you been riding?
Literally my whole life. My mother, and she's been gone 2 years today. She was riding her own Sportster when she was pregnant with me, and so literally my whole life.
That is awesome. That's a first here on this show. That is really a first. So that's cool. We're gonna have to get you an award for that. Literally your whole life. I like that. I'll have to make one for you and send it to you for sure. Okay, so how did you get into motorcycles? I mean, other than being born into it, like what's
Uh, well, my older brother, who you met, he was a Harley dealer for 33 years, but I kind of went the other way because my father had a shop behind our house. Uh, and when he was between jobs as a sheet metal worker, he would, run the shop full time and all. And when I was probably, God, maybe 6 or 7, somewhere around that age, there was a chapter of the Warlocks in Pensacola. And they would always bring their bikes over for my dad to work on. And when those guys would come over, man, they'd always bring me something. Sunglasses, a knife, ring, a vest. One of them even gave me his Green Beret from when he was in the Army. And they would hang out with me, throw the football around with me or whatnot. And they always treated me. They didn't treat me like a kid. They treated me almost like an equal. They talked to me. They didn't talk down to me. And that had a really profound effect on me in the fact that, nowadays people see me talking not just to 1%ers from every club, but other guys that are kind of, I guess you could say, rough around the edges. And they're like, man, how do you talk to those guys? I said, man, it's simple. I keep the conversation about motorcycles and PUSSY. I mean,
you
I
can
have
say it? It's an adult show.
hey, I keep the conversation about motorcycles and pussy. I've never met a biker yet didn't want to talk about those two things. So,
Right?
and I've always identified with those guys because they always struck me as being more honest. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some that aren't, but
Right.
for the most part, you can't live that life or be in this life if you're a piece of shit. You're going to get found out eventually and you're going to get run off. And my grandmother always said, good people always find other good people. And I'm a firm believer in that. So I guess, and also growing up, I would sneak my dad's Easy Riders and Super Cycle and all that and look at the tits and all. And, eventually I started looking at the bikes as well. And I really think those two things, and plus seeing what my dad and my uncles were building, I mean, it's like my preference of bike is like a super glide, stripped down, narrow glide, super glide, real aggressive riding, mid controls, high bars, quote unquote, the club style. And when I was growing up, that's what I saw all the badasses riding. All the cool guys that I wanted to be, they were riding super glides. So I kind of think, like you were saying earlier, we're all products of our environment. So that kind of molded me into what I am now.
Okay. And is that pretty much what sparked your passion for motorcycles? Like that scenario? Or can you remember a specific motorcycle that you just said, okay, from this point on, I'm going to do that. I'm going to ride that, or that was it because you saw all of them?
Well, me and my dad built my first Harley, a Sportster, which I still have, when I was 15. And I started riding that to school, and just the reactions I would get, you know, good and bad, I kind of thrived on that.
Right.
And then we built, over time, we pieced together a nice panhead motor, which I still got today. That was my first big twin. And when I got that, I kind of never looked back. And, you know, there was a time in my life where all I wanted in this world was a set of performance machine brake calipers, foot controls, and a super carburetor. And now I got tons of that shit, you know? So,
I do.
I mean, it just, that, I guess the mystique, and plus, you know, my father had such a reputation around town, and so did my uncles, that, you know, I was welcomed in the bike community, and it felt good, you know? I mean, I feel more comfortable around motorcycle people than any, you know? I mean, I don't criticize other people if they want to play golf or boating or whatnot. I just do motorcycles.
Right. So is that how you got into building motorcycles, was with your dad? Or I know that because like you work a day job. I know you've been there like what, 20, 30 years. You've done the
Long
hard
time.
work. Yeah. So, but you've been building bikes for as long as I've known you. How did you get into that?
Well, number one, I could never afford to pay someone to do it. So my father ingrained in me early on, you know, hey, if you can't afford somebody to pay somebody to fix it, you need to learn how to fix it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, trial and error is the best teacher. You know, experience speaks volumes. So, you know, did I screw up a lot of stuff? Absolutely. But,
Yeah,
you know, I mean, seeing my father and my uncles, you know, they were a very, very, very strong influence on me, and their can-do, hard work ethic really rubbed off on me. And like, you know, my father always told me, you know, if something happens with the bike, you know, just don't get excited. Just look for three things. Number one, has it got spark? Number two, has it got gas? Three, has it got compression? You know,
right.
usually if you try calmly go through that process, you'll find the problem. And, you know, another thing the Army taught me was, you know, if there's something going on, don't panic. Try not to panic. And one time I was coming back from Daytona, and I was on one of my super glides, and it was raining, and I went to hit the rear brake, and when I did, the bike just kind of started to shake, and I was like, what the hell? So I let off, and I just used the front brake, and I got over under an overpass, and I looked, and my rear axle had came out halfway. I'd lost the axle nut, God knows where. And I mean, just the rear chain and the brake caliper were holding that wheel on.
Oh my
So
God.
I pulled over under the overpass, and I was just like, holy shit, man, what the fuck am I going to do? I was really freaking out. And then I was like, you know what? Just calm down. Just chill out.
Don't panic.
Don't panic. Something will work out. So I took my tool bag off, and I took my ball peen hammer, and I leaned it over on the kickstand and tried to, you know, reach around, and I got the axle, drove back in. Thank God. And I was sitting there, and I was like, man, what the hell am I going to do? And I was thinking, well, I can try to wire tie the axle in place and all. And then all of a sudden, I'm leaning against the damn barricade under the overpass. And son of a bitch, I look down and those 6x6 timbers with the guardrails on them and the carriage bolts,
They had the
they're
nut.
3/4. That's the same size as an axle nut. So the state of Florida gave me 4 axle nuts that day. I took 3 off and threw them in the saddlebag and put one on the bike, and I was good to go.
I have a tattoo of let's see. I don't know if you can see it. My cotter pin. It's my cotter pin. Yes.
Yeah.
So I understand that for sure. All right. So the next question is your favorite rides, your favorite motorcycle, and your favorite route.
My favorite bike. I know it's cliche, but I like an FXRP with the fairing and the police bags and floorboards. Because, like I said, I'm a super glide guy. That was the first long distance bike I ever really had, was a 94 RP, and I put many, many, many miles on that thing. And I guess you talking about my best memory of a ride?
Yeah, well, like
Or-
what's the best route you've ever ridden, or the favorite one that you go to like to clear your brain? You know, there's however you want to take that
Well,
one.
there's a strip of along the Gulf here that it's called the J. Earl Bowden Parkway, and it's like a national parkway. So there's no development on it, and there's parts of it that are really close to the water. And I mean, if you get out there on a full moon night, and you get out there at like 12 or 1 in the morning, and there's no one out there, it is the most serene, calming ride I can do. So that's
awesome.
That's my personal favorite.
Okay.
And then where it ends in Navarre, Florida, and you cross over the Navarre Bay Bridge, and there's a nice little Waffle House right there. So
we
there
love
you go.
Waffle House.
Yeah.
We'll have to do that ride sometime. We'll have to come up and do that ride for sure.
Absolutely.
I want to check that out. All right. So a lot of people know or don't know, you MC a lot of events. You MC the Smoke Out. You've done Willie's. You've been everywhere when it comes to that. So how'd you get your start at that?
Believe it or not, Willie from Tropical Tattoo. This was probably the second, and me and Willie can't really figure it out because the time has just blended in so much. So many bikes, so many people, so many events, But I believe it was the second or the third. It was either one of those. I was there, and Willie came up to me, and he handed me a list, and he said, hey, well, it was more like, hey, take a look around and see what you think. So I go around, and I look, and I pick out bikes, and I come back. And, man, at that time, there was probably like 40 or 50 bikes there. It was a good amount. And I handed it to him, and he looked at it, and he said, and he held them both up, and they were the exact same. And he goes, congratulations, you're the judge now. And I said, oh, shit. All right. Well, then about 20 minutes later, he comes up to me and he said, I need you to get up there and give out the awards. And I said, oh, wait a minute, Willie. I said, man, I don't know about that shit. I don't want to get on that microphone. Well, I don't want to do it either. I need you to do this for me. And I was like, well, shit. Okay. So I go up there and I get on the mic and, I'm like, hey, everybody, we're about to give out the awards. If you hear your name or your number called, please bring your bike up here so we can get a photograph of it. And nobody is even listening to me. They're just all walking and I'm like, is this on? Can you hear me? And
not like that now.
Finally, Willie walks up and just like slugs me in the shoulder. And he goes, get your fucking attention. And I said, you got it. So I said, hey, you stupid motherfuckers. If I call your fucking name, get your shit box up here and get the fuck out. I'm ready to go eat. And everybody stopped dead in their tracks and fucking turned around and looked. And I said, now I got your fucking attention. So-and-so. And Tom is erased his name. But I called his name and I said, "Where the fuck are you? Raise your hand." And I see this hand come up real slow out in the crowd. I said, "What the fuck are you still doing standing there? Get your bike up here." So he brings his bike up and he comes up there. And at the time, Willie wanted me on the other side of the podium and I would ask them questions about their bike. Well, thank God, over time that's gone. But I walked up to him and I said, "Hey, man, tell us about your bike." And it may sound cruel, but I really don't give a shit. He was like, "Well, I always wanted to build a Harley with my dad and, this and that." And I'm like, Jesus Christ, this sounds like a fucking Hallmark greeting card. Get the fuck out of here. Who's next? And, he just didn't know what to do. He just rolled it away. And, we go to dinner after that. And Willie's like, "You were a little rough on the winners." And I said, "Well, everybody seemed to like it." I said, "So, we'll see how it goes next go around." Well, the next go around, Biketoberfest came. I did the same. Well, I tried to be polite, and people were like, "What the fuck?" They were encouraging me to be rude.
Yeah, you roast people now. You literally roast them.
So it has evolved into that, and it was totally by accident. Because honestly, before that, public speaking and all that, I was never very good at.
Yeah. Boy, how times have changed. Well, now we talked about it a little bit before. You said something about you had 5 minutes as a stand-up comic. You got to tell me about that.
Well, I was out and about, and I was up in I was in the Army, and I was up in Seattle, and the bunch of the guys I was hanging with, they were like, "Man, you're going to do this or well?" I was like, "No, I'm not." And next thing I know, they paid my entry fee, and the people are up on the stage, calling for me to come up, and I'm like, "Oh shit," So I go up there, and before I walked on stage, there was a guy sitting there, and I didn't catch his name, but he was kind of like the announcer, the MC guy, and he stopped me, and he said, "Well, what's your material?" I said, "Dude, I have no fucking clue." And he looks right at me, and he goes, "Just remember, make fun of yourself just as much as you make fun of someone else." And I said,
"Okay,
got it." So, I go up there, and I mean, I guess by definition, I have a dad bod or whatever. So, I'm no Brad Pitt. So if I'm going to, make fun of this guy, "Hey man, holy shit, what's the air pressure in that bike? You fat ass fucker." I say the same about me, "Hey, look at me. I ain't missing many biscuits and gravy." So, but it was,
fun?
Oh, I had a blast. It was a lot of fun. And, that was when I was talking about the phones. I said, if somebody had told me that I would have a device that I could hold in my hand and put in my pocket and carry around with me and have women send me videos and photos of themselves doing sexual activity, I would have punched you in the fucking face. That's a cruel joke, So, of course, every guy gets it and laughs about it,
Oh,
But
I get it. That's funny.
it was pretty fun. I enjoyed it. I'll be honest with you. I don't know how these guys do 30 minutes or an hour. Man, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of material. But how'd you do in the contest?
I actually got third place.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Got a
So we can
$50
add
bar
that to
tab.
your add that to your resume, right? Stand-up comic. I like that.
Won a
That is
$50 bar
awesome.
tab, which my buddies drank immediately.
Yeah.
So
They're like,
it was
"Give me
fun.
that. We paid your entry fee, right?"
That's it. Oh yeah, those guys were savages.
Oh, that's cool. So, as you MC at events, what is your absolute favorite event?
Chopper time. I mean, others I enjoy them tremendously, but Chopper time, in all honesty, Willie allows me to be me. And honestly, it's probably cost us sponsors over the years. As a matter of fact, I know it has. But Willie allows me to really, I mean, he tells me all the time, "Roadside, if you could tone it down a little." And then I try, and then the next thing I know, I'm letting it rip. Willie just gives me free reign. He basically, just closes his eyes and tries to close his ears because, I get pretty graphic up there sometimes.
Yeah.
And now that's not to say I don't enjoy doing other shows, but other shows, they really kind of try to censor me, the F-bomb, pussy, tits, whatever, they really don't want to hear that. So it's Chopper Time is probably my favorite because I can be me.
Right.
I honestly, another guy who did comedy told me once, he said, when you're up there on the mic, he said, there's your chance to say what everybody else wishes they could say, but they can't.
Yeah. I love
so
it.
That's what I do.
And I have to say that you guys do an amazing job between the security and the staff, and everybody works together. And Willie, he's such a great host. I feel for him because he's always working no matter what, because he has to make sure everything's going, and he wants to stop and say hello to everybody, but he just doesn't get time. So I tell everybody that I've spoken to, I tell them, well, you know what? After the show, go back, say hello, go get a tattoo, spend some money, buy a T-shirt, any of that.
I tell you, on Thursday, that's D-Day. And, people, my brother is a prime example because this was the first Chopper Time he's ever been to because he just sold his dealerships over a year ago. So now he can go to events like he wants. Well, Thursday, he's sitting there out front with my dad, and he stops me, and they're talking with some other people. And he goes, hey, Marty boy, can you go get me a beer? And I said, hold on, big brother. I said, today is Chopper Time. I said, I'm roadside motherfucking Marty right now. I said, I'm at 100 miles an hour, and I ain't even close to the stops. You got to get your own beer today. I said, get the fuck up and go get it. I said, I ain't got time for that shit.
That's awesome.
we have a joke that anytime somebody rolls up and they say to a security guy or anybody, Willie said I could, or Roadside said I could. If they say that, they're fucking lying. Because on that day, we ain't telling nobody nothing.
Right.
And, people try to call me, like 12 o'clock or 12:30. How's the show going? What the fuck, motherfucker? I don't have time to say, why the fuck are you calling me? There's been times I just turn my phone off. But usually Willie will, sometimes if something's going on, he'll hit me up and all. So I'm constantly checking it. But, I got to laugh because my friends hit me up, how's the show going? How many bikes are there? How the fuck do I know, man?
I'm working, right.
Yeah.
And it starts long before, because like I got there on Tuesday, I pulled up to see Willie, and he was out there paving the driveway by hand.
Yeah.
Like he was getting it already. He's not. And I said, can I help you with something? And he's like, nope, I got this.
I swear to you, I have tried so many times over the years. I'll come in there and I'll say, all right, Willie, what are we going to do? Oh, nothing, Roadside. You got it. It's under control. And I'm like, all right, well, the next thing I know, he's moving one of those damn podiums with a hand truck by itself. And I'm like, what the fuck, Will? Come on, man. What the hell? I know I'm here to party, but I'm also here to help, And he has got to be one of the most genuine, caring, thoughtful people I've ever met in my life. He is just, man, I can't say enough good things about Willie and his wife, Jean. They are just salt of the earth people that I am extremely fortunate to have in my life.
I feel blessed. I got to meet Jean at the show, and because of you and Chris, Willie, and got to break bread with everybody, which was incredible. And Cochise and the whole crew, and just with your dad and your brother and Chris and Heather and everything. It was, and all the people at Royce and the other people that do security. It was just it was a real family feeling, just real. Oh, man. After watching you do almost an Andrew Dice Clay show of motorcycle shows and then going to dinner, it was amazing. That was one of the best days ever.
I'm telling you, that day, that culmination, that climax, and then we go to Mario's and have a wonderful dinner and just laugh about what happened during the day. Man, can you believe that dumbass said this? Or can you believe that dipshit did this? Or, it's just good. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
I totally understand that. And I'm thankful that you brought them into my life too, because they're just spectacular people, and I wouldn't trade it for the world at all. All
Good
right, so we're
people
getting on to
find
the
good
next
people.
question. Yes, they do. They do. All right, so this is a good one. What is the most fun you've ever had on a motorcycle? It's an adult show, so you can tell us whatever you want.
Oh man, sex. Period. I mean, that's how I got my name, Roadside Marty. I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
really? I don't know
sex.
that story.
I'll shorten it down real quick. Me and a buddy of mine were out tripping on acid, riding around town, and there was a biker bar in Pensacola called CACS, CACKS, and I showed up there, and this was when Florida had a helmet law. This had to be 91, or it was
Yeah.
before I went in the Army, and I came in, and this chick was. I pulled up, and this chick was coming out of the bar. I hadn't even shut the bike off, and she said, "You know, too bad you can't give me a ride." I said, "Well, go get one of those loaner helmets out of the bar, and let's go." So she ran in, got a helmet, came out. We jumped on the bike, went down this major 4-lane road near the Navy base, and she starts saying she wanted to take her helmet off, and I'm like, "I got a pistol with no numbers, an 8-ball of coke, and a fucking Sportster tag on a fucking 65 pinhead. So I do not need the police whatsoever to even glance at me." So I tell her, "Oh, fuck no, don't take that helmet off." And she goes, "Well, I'll take my top off." So she fucking went to doing that. And I said, "Okay." So I just whipped over in this pawn shop parking lot and got to business. And I hear motorcycles going by, and I hear people all yelling and shit. And I didn't think anything. And then, that acid had me so fucked up. And the next thing I know, there's a light shining in my face, and it's a city cop. He said, "Zip it up and get the fuck out of here." I'm like, "No problem." So I said, "Get on this bike, let's go." So I cranked it up, went back to the bar. We finished our business back behind, and when I walk in, I hear everybody, "Get roadside a beer, get roadside a beer." So I sat down, there were like 10 beers in front of me. And I was like, wow, okay, I guess that's my name now.
I love it. That's awesome. That is awesome. I wondered about that. So you heard it here, everybody. That's how he got his name, Roadside. That's cool. That's a good experience to have on a motorcycle too. So then,
Yes,
what's
it
the
is.
worst experience? What's the worst experience you've ever had?
Oh, fuck, going down. If you're a real biker, if you ain't been down, you will go down. I mean, it's just a matter of time. If you ride enough, you'll come across situations that, I think one of the worst ones I had, I was in Sturgis, and I had left a party in Rapid City at the Banditos Clubhouse, and it was in an industrial area. And for some reason, when I left, I saw a sign that said 95 or 90, the interstate. And I said, "Oh, well, that might be quicker." So I went that way. So I'm in all these businesses and all, and I can see the interstate. And I'm like, shit, how the hell am I going to get there? Well, eventually I saw a road. So I turned down it, and I had this chick on the back, and we're going, and I see a car turning right and like heading towards us. And I hit my turn signal, and I went to turn, and that car had just passed me. And when I went to turn onto the on-ramp, the next thing I know, my head's bouncing off the asphalt, and the bike's sliding. And I was like, what the fuck? Well, something dropped a whole bunch of oil, like poured out, 2 or 3 quarts of oil. So as soon as my bike went across there, my tire just went right out from under me. And,
oh man,
I know I cracked a rib, at the very least, because I couldn't move without being in pain, and I could only sleep on my back. And the fucked up part about that was I was riding back home 1,900 miles the next day because I had to be at work on Monday. So I was leaving Saturday morning. So I rode almost 1,000 miles each day with a cracked rib all the way back home. So that's the worst one.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty bad. Okay, so these are the questions get better now. So I want to know the answers to these. So who is your childhood hero?
Oh, my dad, my father.
I knew it. I knew it. One night we're gonna have to see if we can get him on the show.
I was
That
trying
would
to
be
get
such
him
a
tonight, but he mumbled something and he just left. So I don't know.
I'll personally invite him. Maybe it will get a little farther.
That
than
will do the trick.
I love him. He's so awesome. So tell me why. Let's elaborate on why. Because I mean, I know how spectacular Dad is, but I want everybody else to know.
Well, early on, my parents, they may not have gotten along with each other, but early on, I saw they were both there for me no matter what. And, I may not have thought so because they didn't do exactly what I wanted them to do. But
Mhm.
looking back, they were always there for me. My father taught me responsibility, hard work. If you work hard, you'll get paid. Hard work does pay off, you know, um, how to hustle bikes. If you see this front end for $100, buy it. And then you already got a wheel that'll fit it. And then next thing you know, you can sell it for 300 or 400. You see what I mean? He
Yeah.
taught me that hustle and taught me hard work. And my mother, God bless her soul, she tried to raise me to be a Southern gentleman, but she kind of missed the mark every once on that one.
There's
But
there's some in there. There's some in there. You're
just a
pretty
little bit.
smooth. There's some in
But
there.
the yeah, my parents, they were definitely, and my uncles in their own fucked up way. They I mean, man, those guys would be in jail now if they
Right.
did things to kids now like they did to me and my cousins. And but hey, I'm not complaining one bit. The way I was raised, it made me who I am, made me what I am, and I'm proud of it. I make no excuses, regrets, apologies, nothing.
You should be proud. You're an incredible man. You definitely are. And I've seen you with your manners on. I've seen it. I've
Well,
seen it.
thank you, hon.
You hold the door, and I guess if someone's worth holding the door for, you do it. So I get it.
Well, some
I
of
know
that stuff, what always cracks me up, that it's funny you mentioned that specifically because that's something I usually try to do no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And, for men or women, I hold the door as it's a courtesy,
Yes.
and in the South, I was taught to be a nice
Mm-hmm.
person. Doesn't cost anything to be nice. You know what I
Right.
mean? Doesn't
Right.
cost any amount of money to be a nice person. So in today's society, and I'm using women, but men too, but women, some women, I've held the door for them and they're like, oh no, you go ahead. And I'm like, no, you go ahead. And they're like, oh no, I insist. And I'm like, ma'am, this is kind of personal, but do you have children? And they're like, well, yeah. And I'm like, do you know when they do something wrong? And she goes, yeah. I said, well, my mother taught me to be a Southern gentleman. And my mother taught me to hold the door for women. So if I don't hold this door for you,
She's
I'm
gonna
going to be
know.
on my mom's shit side. And they just start laughing. They're like, okay, I'll go in. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, it doesn't cost you anything to be courteous.
no,
But that's a thing. And I mean, I was raised that way where, the man holds the door and it goes like that, politeness and whatever. Also, however, like you, I grew up around motorcycle clubs where the woman walks behind the man. You know what
yeah.
I mean? When it's business time, it's how it goes. And that's only so she doesn't get shot at when everything goes down. I'm just
Well,
kidding.
it's truly in their best interest, and in that
Yes.
environment. And, not, again, I make no apologies for who I am or how I was raised. But the way I was raised was women take care of men and men take care of everything else. You know what I mean?
I do.
I mean, I'm not saying a woman has to be stuck in the house, in the kitchen, and pregnant, barefoot, all that shit. That's not what I'm saying. Men need to feel, God, I don't even know how to put this, but I see that lacking in a lot of society today. I mean, I don't tell anyone how to live their life, but if I care about you and I love you, I'm going to take care of you.
Mhm.
And I might do that in a way you're not used to, or that might not be politically or socially correct, but I
Correct.
still do.
Right. Right.
It's
Right.
worked for
And
me.
times have changed too. I mean, people have taken a lot of that out. Not that the women empowerment is cool, to see
Yes, it
women
is.
doing things that uh they always thought gender could stop them. However, traditionally, in a man-woman relationship, early on in the 40s, the 30s, 40s, and 50s, that's how a lot of us were raised. Our parents were raised that way. Those were their
Absolutely.
traditional values. And, of course, like with my kids, my daughter's the same way as I am. I like to take care of the house. I don't move refrigerators. I don't like to clean the windows, and I don't like to take out the trash. I can hire somebody to clean the windows. My man takes out the garbage, and he moves all the refrigerators. I'll help you work on the car, work on the motorcycle. I'll even mow the grass once in a while if I have to, just so that it gets done so we can go out riding on Sunday, But the inside is my deal. I take care of him, cook the meals. And
Well,
I think as an Italian girl too, I think I
oh
enjoy
yeah,
that. I like the
oh,
nesting, so.
absolutely. Now, one time I was at a local bike night and I was on my knucklehead, and this is no offense or whatnot, but a girl or a woman, younger, she was looking at my bike, and when I walked up, I said, "You got any questions about it?" And she kind of got a arrogant tone to her, and she said, "Well, you probably don't think someone like me should ride this." And I said, "What, are you fucking kidding me?" I said, "Shit, that's the least I can expect you to do." And she goes, "What?" And I said, "I'm sorry, but if you think I'm going to stand back and pat you on the back because you're riding your own motorcycle," I said, "Fuck that." I said, "My mother was riding when she was pregnant with me." I said, how can I say this? I said, "I expect you to be able to ride a motorcycle because you're a strong enough individual that you can overcome that shit. I mean, if society wants to pat you on the back, hey, that's fine. But I know you can do it.
Right.
You just don't know it yourself." And I
Right.
taught her how to kickstart it. And I didn't let her ride it because she was nervous about that suicide, but with no front brake.
Yeah.
But I said, "I can teach you how to crank it. And I guarantee you, you line up 100 of these guys and 90 of them, 95 or more won't even know how to do that." And she was
Right.
like, "Are you serious?" And I said, "Hell yeah." I said, "This is how you do it." And I went through. So now, whenever I run into that girl, she's like, "Where's the knuckle?" I'm like, "Well, I'm not on the knuckle. I'm on my super glide." Well, shit. And, she wants to kickstart the son of a bitch every time I see her.
Every time she sees her. And that's
Yep.
funny because I rode a jockey shift for quite some time. Don would fix other people's motorcycles with suicide shift and all that stuff and never rode one. And I built that pink bike and I put him in the shop facing the wall and it was just finished. And I said, "Okay, put it in gear and like creep it along." He's like, "I'm going to hit the fucking wall or something." I'm like, no. Took like 2 minutes. Next thing you know, he's out in the street and then he goes, "Wow, by me, wow, by me." And all of a sudden now he rides a jockey shift, suicide, no problem. He's got it going on. So I was like, well, I didn't know I couldn't do it. I just figured I can do it. I just got to figure out. I
Right.
tell everybody, you can do anything. It might turn out shitty. It might turn out good. As long as you put the effort forward, you can do
Absolutely.
anything. So,
Absolutely. And,
all right. So, go
yeah.
ahead.
No.
Go ahead. Finish that. I wanted to ask you the next question because I'm
Sure.
interested to hear that. Who's your motorcycle hero?
Oh, wow. Man, that kind of covers a lot. I mean, are you talking about like a builder or
It can be anybody
someone like
who
Willie
inspired
G?
you.
Um, oh man. Um,
I've gotten answers from Evil Knievel all the way to, you
oh,
know,
well,
Roger Goldhammer. I've had all those answers. So anywhere in
Evel
between.
Knievel for one, because, um, he was larger than life. And, we always watched Wide World of
World of
Sports with his
sports.
jumps and
Yeah.
all that. And we were always jumping our bicycles trying to be like him.
Uh-huh.
Um, I guess though, and I know this may sound silly to some or, laughable or whatnot, but honestly, Chris Callan is one of my heroes. I see that guy, him and Jeff Cochran are two of the guys that I admire the most. I mean, those guys, they seem to be able to do anything. Jeff used to be a master jeweler, and I was talking with him once up in Ohio when he was still there at Sucker Punch, and he was sitting there and he was looking at some kind of chart with stocks or whatnot. And I said, "What is that?" And he went into this big spiel about the stock market and this and that. And he was just so intelligent. And I'm like, man, this guy builds these really cool bikes and he's just so multi-talented and multifaceted. And it's the same with Chris. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I'll say outright, Chris Callan is the hardest working man in the motorcycle business. Him and Heather. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
those two, they do more in 1 week than a lot of people do all fucking year.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep at it. And, he inspires me. I mean, he's got his own frame jig now, and he just built his whole frame for this chopper he's taking
I
out to
saw
Arizona.
that.
I mean, seriously? I
Mhm.
mean, come on. And he never stops learning. He never stops. He's just got such an incredible thirst to learn. And Heather, she just seems to, if whatever, happens to go by Chris, she just catches it, moves right on. And
Yes.
those two, and I guess Evil Knievel are.
I love it. That's
Yeah.
awesome. If he's watching, well, he's probably not watching now, but when he watches this tomorrow, he's gonna have a big old smile on his face because I know he loves the shit out of you. He
Oh man,
definitely forever.
him and Willie are the two best friends I've got in the world. I mean, those guys could call me at 2 a.m, and the only thing I'd say is, do I need to bring a round point shovel or a square point?
That's what I tell
Are we digging
everybody.
in soft dirt or are we digging in hard dirt?
I
I'm
tell
there for you.
everybody, you're the kind of person, you're the kind of friend that you're not the friend that you call up and ask for bail money. You're the friend that's sitting right next to me in the cell. That's the kind of person that you are, though. You're that kind of friend. When you're someone's friend, you are that. It's true blue, no bullshit.
It is. And sometimes that's bit me in the ass, but I mean, it's only been 2 or 3 times in my lifetime that I've really regretted trusting individuals.
Mhm.
And, I haven't let that hold me back, but it has happened. I don't have a perfect track record. So,
Happens to all of us, for sure.
yes, it does.
All right. So our next question is, what are your 2 most cherished motorcycle memories? I always give everybody 2 because nobody can ever pick one. So
Oh, riding to Sturgis in 01 with my dad.
okay.
That's got to be number 1. And there's a tie for number 2. That same trip, I was coming back by myself because my dad had his girlfriend with him and they were staying a little longer. I had to be back to work, go figure. But
Uh-huh.
I left, and that was actually the trip with the ribs. I left early, like 4 a.m, from right there on the other side of the interstate on Lozelle. There was the campground. That's where we were staying, by that hill climb. Anyway, I get on the road and I go, and I'm probably, oh man, I'm somewhere between, I think I was between, I got gas at Murdo, so I was before that where the car museum is.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm going along, and I see in the distance a dust cloud, and I'm like, oh shit, man, that's a dust devil, you got to be careful because it knock you off your bike.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm riding along, and I'm getting closer and closer, and I'm like, what? That's something different. Well, it was a pack of wild Mustangs running right beside the interstate, and there was about 20 of them, and I paced them for about 30 seconds, and then they broke off and went into the prairie. But that was one of the coolest fucking things I've ever seen. And I was steadily trying to get my Instamatic camera out to take a picture. I almost wrecked. I
Right?
didn't get it. But in my mind, I still remember it. And it was one of the most majestic things I've ever seen.
That's
And
neat.
then my son and me rode to Oktoberfest one time together. And he rode my RP and I rode Ultra I had at the time. And just me and him riding together and spending all the Oktoberfest together and then riding back was really something special. So that's a tie
That's
between the
amazing.
Mustangs and this trip with my son.
Those are all good. Those are all really good. So Rogue put up there, thanks for stopping to help me that day. I was broke down on the highway. So Dennis Stauber says, amen, Marty. Says Heather's the ultimate chopper chick. And then Woody, Wildwood Woody, who does awesome heads. He says awesome. So I just want to let you know everybody's commenting in there.
I know.
All right.
And I
So
want to say one thing about Rogue. That man, he is a treasure to the motorcycle community. And if
he
you
is.
see him and you recognize him or whatnot, say hello and say thank you to him, because if you ride a motorcycle, you owe your rights to that man and all the other freedom fighters that have been there with him or before him.
Yeah, him, Tony Pan. It was cool. I had
Tony
Tony Pan
Pan,
on, and I asked who
Chief
his
Ball.
hero was, and he said Rogue, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. And yeah, Bandit. Oh yeah, Bandit. That's another one. He said he'd be on the show. I just got to send him the info. I wish I could do it like every night of the week because I have so many cool people. You know what I mean? Maybe one day. I'd love to fly everybody in, go out riding, and then do the show
Oh
live.
man,
That would
that'd be a good
better.
one.
Maybe one day we get rock star money or something like that. But for now, I'm just happy where I am. All right. So if you could go back and tell your 25-year-old self something, what would that be?
Don't let your dick run your life, son.
Okay.
Honestly.
Okay.
I
I'll go with
mean, I know that sounds cliche, but that's the fucking truth.
Right?
So,
and
yeah.
Hopefully younger people that watch this understand that we all wish we could go back and tell our 25-year-old self something. If you knew then what you know now, holy shit, right?
I know people tried to tell me that back then, and I just didn't fucking listen. But
we
looking
rarely
back,
listen to anything, right? At 25, we don't hear anything.
No. And I joke now, I tell my son, my stepdaughter, I try to tell them something, and they don't listen. So I just always say, nobody fucking listens to me.
Yeah. And our parents said that about us.
Yeah. I mean, I joke I used to be hell on wheels. Now I'm just an old city bus trying to make the stops on time. Nobody listens to me.
All right. If money didn't matter and you could take a road trip on your motorcycle anywhere, where would that be and with who?
Well, I would take all my close friends who wanted to go, and we would ride around Europe. Because I've always wanted to do that. I mean, I've been to Europe, but I've never been, on a motorcycle. And I would love to just travel around there and stop where I want to stop, see what I want to see, not some organized tour, with a time limit or whatnot. I love to travel. And the time I spent in Europe, I didn't, of course, it's never long enough. So I'd love to go back and just travel around there.
Okay. That's awesome. Okay. So I don't know. Did you get to hear tonight's question? I had a young lady, Barbara. She said she's 5'4" and she wants to buy a vintage motorcycle, but she's afraid if she bought an Indian or a Harley, she wouldn't be able to reach the ground or kickstart it. So I told her she should probably look at a flathead 45 or something. Because you guys race some of the bikes, but some of the bikes you have off to the side, the little pit bikes and stuff, that stuff's cool. And your knucklehead's not really tall. It's all rigid frame, right?
Well, I'd go along with your advice of a 45. I mean, now granted, they've really started to climb in price, especially since the whole Sons of Speed added a class of them.
Yeah.
But a 45, you got to look. It's 55 cubic inches displacement. I mean, it's very easy to kick over. I mean, it's almost like a dirt bike. So,
Yes.
I mean, that would be very, very easy for her to learn or do. I mean, I would suggest too, people are going to give her hundreds of opinions, but I would strongly suggest, hey, if you don't feel comfortable, don't do it.
Right.
I mean, because I see a lot of people get on something that they might want, but they're uncomfortable on it and they get hurt. So I would just tell her, don't do anything, that you're not comfortable with. I mean, yeah, you're going to have to step out of your comfort zone sometimes, but, don't take an Ultra Glide Classic, up a mountain range, when you have never ridden before. I mean, come on. Don't do some shit like that. But, don't be afraid to learn to ride a rocker clutch, or a tank shift or a kickstart bike. There, people have been doing that for years, almost 100 years. So,
that's
come on
my list. I've never done the tow and go. Although I was the crew chief for Effie on the Cannonball, I never test rode the bike. I let Christine do it. But I want to learn to ride a tow and go and then one day do a Cannonball. I think that would be really cool.
That would be awesome. That would
That
be
would
awesome.
be neat. Yeah.
Well, maybe I might have
Okay.
a bike old enough for you to do one on, and you can just take my picture.
Oh, okay. I'm good with that. We have to talk more about that for sure. All
Sure.
right. So tell us something good about yourself that others may not know.
One time I was in the Army and I got in some trouble, and in the Army it's called an Article 15, and it's non-judicial punishment. You might have extra duty, or you might lose half your pay for a month, or so. I mean, there's all kinds of, you know, penalties or whatnot with that. And I got one once. I don't even remember what it was for, but my first sergeant said, uh, "You're going to have to volunteer." Uh, I think it was like 12 hours a week or something. You're going to have to volunteer uh, so many hours a week at a nonprofit, and I'll let you choose them. I'll let you choose the one you want. And I went down the list, and most of them were already picked, but there was one, and it was adult reading, teaching adults how to read. And
Okay.
my mother was a voracious reader, so I love to read too. So I was like, man, that would, I'll do that one. So I did that, and the impact you have on someone, especially someone older, that you just take for granted. Hey, I can read that stop sign. I know what that sign says. Well, this person has lived their whole life just by their wits. They don't, you know what I mean? They're counting on
Yeah.
other people to help them understand things, or they just try
Right.
to figure it out on their own. And I just really loved that program. So after I was done with my required service, I kept doing it. And honestly, I'd like to start that again. That
Okay.
that's a very fulfilling feeling teaching someone how to read.
Okay.
And I know that might not be biker enough or whatnot, but I really
No,
enjoyed
I
that.
think that's real world person stuff. I tell everybody I always do everything I can to encourage people to just go out there and volunteer. It doesn't matter what you do.
Oh yeah,
Just go out there and be part of your community and make it better. That's important.
don't
We
cost
all
a
have
dime to be
history.
nice.
Right,
Doesn't
and we all
cost a
have
dime to be
history.
nice.
We've all made mistakes. We've all had good things that we've done, and the best way is to share what we know and make our community better. So that's awesome. And when you're ready to do that, you let me know because I'm on board for sure.
Right on,
I'll
huh?
come
I'll let
volunteer. Donald come volunteer too. He's over there raising his hand, raising his
Hey,
hand.
I
If
tell
you
you, it's really awesome. It is a great feeling. You know,
have you ever have you ever read the book The Art of Racing in the Rain?
I have not.
I'm gonna get a copy of that and send it to you. The dog is the one who tells the story in this book.
Oh wow,
You never look at an animal the same way ever again. It's
yeah,
kind of mind-boggling. They made a movie, but the movie wasn't the guy was like some big star, but it didn't really give when you read, your imagination takes its own, makes its own picture of what you're reading and what you see. Your imagination is allowed to make it whatever you want. So the book is really good and you can read it. You don't put it down. Once you start, you cannot put it down. So we'll send you a copy of that for
hey, I'd
sure.
love to read that.
That'd be great. Okay, so we're the home of 5 good things. Will you give us your 5 good things tonight? 5 good things you're grateful for.
Oh wow, my family, my job, um, my friends, uh, somewhat my health, uh, and motorcycles.
I love it. That's an awesome, awesome list of 5 good things. Well, then I guess that's the last question. I can't thank you enough for being here and
Oh,
letting
I've
everybody
had a
get to know
blast.
you.
I've
I'm
had a
I'm
blast. I really have.
I'm I'm honored, and we're gonna do this again. We're gonna get
Please.
your dad on. We need to get you, your dad, and your brother all at once
Oh
and let
wow,
you guys tell stories. That would be fantastic. So we're gonna have to make a date for that for sure.
absolutely.
I
That
think we'll
sounds
make
great.
that like a
Maybe the smoke out
holiday.
because they'll both be there.
Oh, we could do it live. Uh-oh. That'd be almost too much fun. That might not even be legal, I don't think.
Hey, you know what? I got bail money for you, Mama.
All right. I might take you up on that. All right. Well, thank you so much. And I can't thank you enough. It was my honor. I
Oh,
love you.
I had an absolute blast, son. I love it. Mwah.
All right. Well, I will see you
Love you
later.
guys.
All right.
All right, bye.
How awesome. I am so lucky. See, again, I have amazing people in my life. I'm so blessed. All right. So we're going to finish up with my afterthought. Follow your dreams. Okay. Following your dreams is not an easy task. It does require a lot of heart. Okay. And by that, I mean you have to take a gut punch more times than not. And that's the God's honest truth. In the moment, when you get to the goal, everything's all rosy. Dreams are a vision of what you truly want out of life. Okay. So not many can follow their dreams because the difficulties that stand in the way. I love it. Don's so good. He's so good. So go ahead with the prompter, honey. We didn't fire thing one the first time out either. So the difficulties that stand in the way seem to be too much. On most days, yes. But then a glimmer of the dream ignites the fire again, and you just keep going. So my dream being right here, right now, doing this little show. Don't forget, smile big, spread your sunshine, be kind to yourself and others. It matters, okay? It absolutely matters. And then we'll do the wrap up. Please participate in the show by sending your 5 good things, cool stuff, events, charities, programs in your area, and or questions for a bit of biker chick perspective. And just send it to the email on the screen. And please keep it positive. You know, some of the shit you guys send is a little bit off the chain, but that's all good. I read it anyways. It gives me a good laugh. All right. And then don't forget to follow us on Facebook. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's right there on the screen. Share it. Please have everyone share it. And stay tuned for more great guests. Thanks so much to Roadside for joining us. Thanks to our sponsor, Techno Research, and our advertiser, Seaside Subs. We made it happen. And thank you all for viewing. I'll see you next week, 10 p.m. for another great guest. Love you all. Good night. Chop around. Love you. Oh, flabby arms. Yay.